Space had a strange way of swallowing the past. Commander Elias Carter floated slowly toward the shattered docking bay of Station Karthos 9, his boots magnetizing softly to the metal floor as he stepped inside. The station had been abandoned for almost 15 years. Once it had been a trading hub for half a dozen civilizations. Now it was just another corpse drifting in orbit around a dying red star. His helmet light swept across the corridor. Broken consoles. Collapsed walls. Frozen cargo crates. Nothing moved. "Command, I've entered the station," Elias said through the comms. Static answered him. That wasn't surprising. The star's radiation interfered with long-range signals, which meant he was completely alone out here. The salvage contract had sounded easy enough. Search the station. Recover anything valuable. Return to Earth. But abandoned stations had a reputation among spacefarers. They were never truly empty. Elias moved deeper into the hallway. His motion scanner beeped quietly. Empty. 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 Then suddenly, a faint signal appeared. Elias stopped walking. He stared at the scanner. A single life sign. Weak. Barely detectable. Impossible, he whispered. No one had lived here for over a decade. Yet the scanner insisted. Someone was still alive. The survivor. The signal led him deeper into the station. Through collapsed corridors. Past frozen storage bays. And finally into a dark medical wing. The doors were sealed halfway open, warped from some old explosion. Elias forced them apart. Inside, the room was silent. Medical pods lined the walls. Most were shattered, but one still glowed faintly. He approached slowly. The life sign was coming from inside it. Through the cracked glass, he saw a figure. Small. Curled inside the pod. His breath caught. It wasn't human. The figure had pale silver skin and long dark hair floating weightlessly around her face. Her ears were slightly pointed. Her breathing was shallow. She's alive, Elias murmured. He opened the pod carefully. The girl collapsed forward into his arms. Her body felt strangely warm despite the freezing room. And she was light. Far lighter than a human. Her eyes fluttered open briefly. Bright violet. Alien eyes. She looked at him with confusion. Human? Then she passed out. 3. A dangerous decision. Elias carried her back toward his ship. His mind raced. Finding a survivor was already unexpected. But finding an alien survivor? That complicated things. Interstellar law was clear. Rescue all intelligent life when possible. But abandoned stations were dangerous. And this girl looked badly injured. Her breathing was shallow. Her skin felt feverish. If he left her here, she'd die. So he made a decision. He carried her onto his small salvage ship, the Drifting Sparrow. The medical scanner lit up the moment he placed her on the table. Warning: unknown biology. Great, Elias muttered. The scanner struggled to analyze her physiology. Different blood chemistry. Different organs. But one thing was clear. She had severe internal injuries. Probably from whatever destroyed the station years ago. How did you survive this long? He whispered. Her eyes slowly opened again. She stared at him weakly. You found me. Yeah. Her voice trembled. I thought no one would. Then she fainted again. 4. A secret in the dark. For 2 days, Elias cared for the alien girl. The ship's medical AI adapted its treatment slowly. Her condition improved little by little. Eventually, she woke fully. She looked around the small ship cautiously. Where am I? My salvage vessel, Elias replied. She studied him carefully. You saved me. Looks like it. She sat up slowly, wincing. I owe you my life. Elias shrugged. That's part of the job. She watched him for a long moment. Then she asked quietly, You are human, correct? Last time I checked. Her eyes softened. I have heard many stories about humans. Good ones or bad ones? She hesitated. Both. 5. The girl who said nothing. Elias asked her many questions. Her name, her species, why she was alone on a ruined station. But she answered very little. My name is Lyra, she said simply. That's it. Yes. You don't want to tell me more? She looked down. It is safer if you do not know. That answer bothered him, but he didn't push. Over the next few days, she regained strength. She explored the ship carefully. She was curious about human technology, and sometimes she stared out the window at the stars with a strange sadness. One night, Elias finally asked, How long were you on that station? She hesitated. 10 years. Elias nearly dropped his drink. 10 years. She nodded slowly. I was placed into stasis when the attack happened. Attack. She looked away again. My enemies believed I died there. Elias leaned forward. Enemies? Lyra said nothing. 6. The ships that appeared. 3 days later, Elias was preparing to leave the system. That's when his radar screamed. Multiple warp signatures appeared. Huge ones. He stared at the screen. 5 enormous warships dropped out of hyperspace around the red star. Their designs were sleek and elegant. Alien, but terrifying. Lyra saw them too. Her face went pale. They found me. Elias frowned. Friends of yours? She shook her head slowly. No. The ships began scanning the area. One of them transmitted a signal. A voice echoed through the cockpit. This is the Imperial Fleet of Veleran. Unknown vessel. Identify yourself immediately. Elias glanced at Lyra. You want to explain something? She whispered quietly. They will destroy your ship. Why? Because you are protecting me. Elias stared at her. Who exactly are you? Lyra closed her eyes and finally said the truth. I am Princess Lyra Veleran. 7. The Princess. Elias blinked. Princess. She nodded. Heir to the Veleran Empire. Outside the window, the massive warships surrounded them. Thousands of weapon systems locked onto the small salvage vessel. Elias rubbed his face. So let me get this straight. Yes. I rescued a random alien girl on a dead station. Yes. And she's actually the princess of a galactic empire. Yes. Elias sighed. That explains why people tried to kill you. Lyra looked down sadly. My enemies attacked our royal fleet years ago. They thought you died. Yes. But if your people are here now, that's good, right? She shook her head slowly. They're not my people. Elias frowned. What do you mean? Her voice trembled. They belong to the general who betrayed my family. 8. Running was impossible. The warships surrounded them completely. The communication channel opened again. Unknown vessel. Surrender immediately. Lyra grabbed Elias's arm. If they capture me, they will execute me. Why? Because I am the rightful heir. Elias stared at the radar. 5 battleships. Against 1 salvage ship. Running was impossible, but he wasn't ready to give up. Hold on, he said. Lyra looked confused. What are you doing? Elias grinned slightly. Something very human. 9. The human plan. Instead of fleeing, Elias opened a communication channel. This is Commander Elias Carter of Earth. Silence followed. Then the alien voice replied. State your intentions. Elias leaned back calmly. I rescued a survivor from Station Karthos 9. Pause. Continue. She claims to be Princess Lyra Veleran. Long silence followed. Then the fleet commander spoke again. Transfer the individual immediately. Elias shook his head.
No.
Lyra looked at him in shock. Elias. Relax. The alien voice became cold. You refuse an Imperial order? Yes. Explain. Elias smiled slightly. Because she's under human protection. 10. The standoff. The fleet commander's voice grew dangerous. You protect a fugitive. I protect someone I rescued. You challenge the Empire. Elias shrugged. Just following rescue law. Another long pause followed. Then something unexpected happened. Another voice appeared on the channel. Older. Stronger. Commander Carter. Elias frowned. Yeah. This is Admiral Sereth, loyal servant of the true Velaran throne. The warships outside suddenly turned their weapons, away from the Sparrow, and toward each other. Lyra gasped. What's happening? Admiral Sereth spoke again. We have searched for the princess for 10 years. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. You believed I survived? Yes, Your Highness. The traitor fleet suddenly realized the situation and opened fire. 11. The battle. The Red Star system erupted into chaos. Warships blasted each other with beams of energy. Explosions lit up the darkness. Elias grabbed the controls. Hold on. The small salvage ship darted through the battlefield. Lyra stared at the battle in shock. Because of me, they're fighting. Elias shook his head. No. Then why? Because your empire isn't as broken as you thought. Admiral Sereth's fleet slowly gained the advantage. Within minutes, the traitor ships were destroyed or retreating. Silence returned to space. 12. The truth revealed. A single warship approached the Sparrow. Lyra stood beside Elias at the window. Everything is about to change, she whispered. The warship hailed them. Princess Lyra Velaran, please come home. She looked at Elias. You saved my life. He shrugged. Just doing my job. She smiled softly. No. You did far more than that. 13. The princess returns. Lyra boarded the Imperial warship with Admiral Sereth. But before leaving, she turned back to Elias. My people will never forget what you did. Elias grinned. Just promise one thing. What? Next time you get stranded on a dead station, call someone sooner. She laughed softly. I will remember that, Commander. And with that, the princess returned to her empire. All because one human salvage pilot decided not to leave a dying stranger behind. Sometimes, saving one life can change the fate of an entire galaxy.